Hi there, I'm Janeen from Club MojoCircle, and welcome to our discussion circle on real listening for real connecting. Thank you for joining us, and do stay till the end because we'll have a very powerful meditation on how well we listen and how we can improve our listening to increase our connection with others. So let's get into it. So, real listening for real connecting. What's that all about? What do I mean? And what am I talking about when I talk about listening and connecting? So, real listening is what I call engaged listening. And engaged listening means that we are really engaged in the listening. Another word for it is active listening, and a lot of people teach active listening skills. But I like the term engaged listening because it's not just active listening, it's actually being engaged. And I think this quote here by Jiddu Kishan Amaratu or something like that, I can't really say it properly, but he said, I don't know. So when you are listening to somebody completely, attentively, then you are listening not only to the words, but also to the feeling of what is being conveyed, to the whole of it, not part of it. So what I'm going to do today is share with you 10 techniques for engaged listening that does all of that we just listened to. And as Brian McGill says, it's one of the most sincere forms of respect that we can give another person is to really listen to what they're saying. And so often people don't. And, they don't actually engage when they're listening. And I'm sure as I go through these 10 techniques for engaged listening, there might be one or two that you go, oh, yep, I do that, or I don't do that. So, sort of keep in mind on what is it you do when you're listening, and try and apply it and see how well, maybe you're a fantastic listener and you implement all 10 of the techniques already. And then I would say you could well be a coach or a therapist or a counselor, because that's often what we do when we're really good listeners. So let's look at number one is engage with empathy, compassion, and respect. So you want to start your conversation or discussion with an intent, like your intent should be that you want to understand them. You are listening to them with the intent of understanding them. You want to try and put yourself in their shoes so that you can understand where they're coming from and how they're perceiving the situation. And you want to respect and accept them and what they say. Now, I didn't mention before, so when I'm talking about these discussions and conversations, they can be with anyone at any time. They can be at work, in your most intimate relationship, in your family, with your friends. Anywhere where we're talking about anywhere that you're having a serious discussion or just a discussion where you want to connect. Could just be a lovely, friendly conversation. So always go in with empathy, compassion, and respect for the other person. Number two is help them feel at ease. This is particularly important when you're having, might be one of those difficult conversations that you have to have in a workplace where you might be the manager and have to, talk to someone about a performance that isn't quite as good as you want. Start by helping them feel more comfortable, because when they feel more comfortable, you will actually get more interaction out of them and be able to get to the source of the problem, and then you've got more chance of resolving it. So start with, you be relaxed, be gentle in yourself, and be gentle with them. Acknowledge that you have heard them and understand them as you go through. And that's where the active listening comes in. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, nodding your head. Yes, I understand. You know, expressing something that shows you're with them. You're with them in the story and you're going along. And definitely maintain active and connected eye contact. That is so important because that's how we're connecting. We connect through our eyes. You know, that's the major way we connect with people. So make sure that that is really active for you. Number 3 is put aside all personal prejudice. You know, have you ever sat there and listened to someone and gone, oh my God, their voice just grates on me. I can't stand it. Or, oh, they talk so slow, or they talk so fast, or they talk in a high-pitched voice, or, you know, any of these judgments about how they're talking is going to create a disconnect between you and that person because they're going to feel it. They'll feel the judgments. So really focus on what's being said. Don't judge how it's being said, and let go of any of your personal reactions about, or personal feelings about them and personal reactions to them. This is really important because sometimes we just judge way too quickly. And especially in the office, we can have judgments that are just, well, sometimes they can be inappropriate. So it's important to let go of those judgments and those prejudices. And I'm not talking about great big prejudices of, you know, sexism and racism and all of that. I'm talking about our normal, everyday prejudices. And you might go, oh, no, I'm not a prejudiced person. I'm not judgmental. But, you know, how often have you looked at someone and gone, oh, let's say, she's very overweight or fat, or, oh, he doesn't look all that bright, or, you know, all these little things that we go on, you know, and then if we've got to pull ourselves up and go, yeah, actually, we make judgments all the time. Even the least judgmental person will make judgments. I know I do. We're human. So avoid them. Avoid all distractions. Now, isn't this picture just classic office picture of 3 women who are so distinctly not interested in what this poor guy is saying? I feel a bit sorry for him. And, you know, look at them, and how can you tell they're not interested? They're not engaging with him at all. But I would venture to say that probably as a speaker, he may not be engaging them. Did he start with eye contact with them? Did he start with making them feel relaxed? So, but when I'm talking about this is avoid all distractions that are going on for you in your head. So empty your mind of everything else and just focus on the person you're talking to. Don't doodle, don't move, shuffle your papers around, don't look out the window, don't twiddle your hair, pick your fingernails, and definitely don't pick your nose because that's just off. And definitely, also the other definite, don't look at your phone. Don't even have your phone next to you. Like, put it away. If you really want to focus on someone, get rid of that phone, because as soon as a message comes up, you'll look away at it, go, oh, what's the message? Oh, can I see it and still pretend to be engaged? No, you can't. So just get rid of it. You can look at those messages await. They're not even there with you. The most important person is the person opposite you that you're talking to right there and then. Everyone else can wait. I love this one. Stop talking. Even in your own head. Yes, stop that little voice in your head. Just listen to what they're saying. This quote by Stephen Covey is such a perfect one. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. The collective monologue is everyone talking, but no one's listening. So just listen to what they're saying. Don't interrupt them. Don't talk over them. Don't finish their sentences for them. And whatever you do, don't think about your response. Don't think about how you're going to respond at all, because as soon as you are thinking about your response, you have stopped listening to the other person. And definitely don't think about, what you're going to have for dinner, or is it raining outside, or how are you going to get home? Like, just shut down everything in your mind and focus on the most important person who's there in front of you right now. Be patient. This is really important because sometimes we need time to get our thoughts straight in our head, and we might just need to be silent for a little bit. We need to get our thoughts straight. We need to work out, what do we want to say? How do we want to say next? I mean, this is when you might start thinking about your response, is when they've stopped thinking. So what you're wanting to do is be patient. Give them time to actually, to stop and think. They might want to say something else. They might just be thinking, have they covered it all? Did they cover everything they want? And especially when it's a highly emotionally charged conversation, that's when we need more time. And silence is a golden thing. Silence is a real gift in a discussion, because it gives the other person time to think about whether they might say more. And if you really want someone to talk to you and to share with you, then be quiet and wait for them to talk to you, to say more. And stay focused on them, as I keep telling you. Next one's really important, because we need to keep listening, even if you don't agree with them. So no one's saying you have to agree with everything they're saying. But a lot of people, what happens is, once we hear something we don't agree with, we shut off, and we start thinking about all the reasons we don't agree with that. And then we have stopped listening. So you don't have to agree, but you do need to hear them out. You do need to wait and see what everything they've got to say. And whatever you do, don't tell them they're wrong or they don't understand. Oh, that's the worst thing. What you need to understand is, don't ever say that to someone. It's just the worst way, because you cannot tell them what they need, and you cannot tell them that they need to understand something exactly the same way as you, because they understand it the way they understand it. And it's a bugbear of mine, that one. What do you need to understand? No, I don't. I don't need to understand that. Thank you. And this is a really, really great quote as well by Bernard Baruch. And most of the successful people I've known are the ones who do more listening than talking, because then you actually hear what's going on. And sometimes if there's a silence, people just feel they need to fill it and they need to keep talking. So you might be surprised what actually comes out of them if you let them keep going. Number 8, listen for the whole story. Now, what I mean by that is that they're not necessarily saying everything. They're not necessarily telling you everything in their words. So use your intuition and insight. Listen with your heart. This is where the empathy and compassion comes in. And complete the picture of their feelings and perceptions. So this is when we're reading a person correctly. We're reading them to think about, okay, well, what's really going on for them? What's really happening? And, this is where, read between the lines of what they're saying. Like, what is it they're maybe not saying? That's a really good question to ask yourself privately as well. And when they're finished saying something, try repeating it back to them in your own words to say, well, do I understand you correctly? Or if I understand you correctly, this is what I get that you're saying. Is that right? Just to make sure you have got the story correct as they're trying to deliver it. Number 9 is definitely observe their nonverbal communication, because it will tell you the truth about how they feel. And it will convey the emotion behind what they're saying. Because if you look at Dr. Albert Mehrabian's model, he said that 7% of the message and the communication is actually in the words that are spoken or written. 38% of the interpretation is in the voice and the tone. So, if someone's talking really quickly and they're sort of talking like that, and then you're going to guess that they are quite nervous and they're a little unsure of their position or what they're trying to say. But if they talk in a high-pitched voice, it's like, it could be that they're really emotional and that they're just struggling to hold back the tears. So our tone and our voice, and also the speed in which people talk. When people are nervous, they tend to speak a lot quicker. Whereas, if they're speaking slowly, it generally means that, they're probably thinking about things a bit more, being more careful about what they're saying. And of course, over half, 55%, is in the body language. So really take note, especially when you're having those serious discussions. Are they leaning back with their arms crossed? Do they have a look on their face like, oh my God, really just hurry up and finish? Or, I don't know if he's really listening to me or she. What sort of stance do they have? What sort of facial expressions? Are they moving? Are they twitching? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. Are they fidgeting? All these signs that show whether what they're saying is really true for them. And, you need to take in that whole picture. So listen with your eyes and your ears to how are they saying what they're saying? How do they sound, look, stand, sit, move? And how expressive are they in their voice? And then we have our last one. And attitude is everything. So you need to go into this discussion, conversation, opportunity with an open and accepting attitude. So that means you need to be open to what they might present to you. And you need to be accepting that they are who they are and they are where they are. And it may not be what you want, but until you can understand what that is, you're not really going to connect with them. So set your intent to be curious in the conversation so that you can understand what they're about. Look for the truth in what they're saying. Use your intuition to determine, how is it truthful? Are they saying what's actually true for them? Lose your judging of what they're actually saying. Just don't judge it, because you need to accept it as their truth. And so that is how they perceive it. And deal with that. Deal with their perception of what's going on. And if it's just a casual conversation, then, just listen to them with interest and go, wow, that's really interesting that's where you come from. That's what you're doing. So those are the 10 techniques for engaged listening. I hope you got some benefit out of that. And how many of them, have a think about it. And how many of them did you find that you're guilty of doing or not doing, whichever way it was worded? Like, how good a listener are you? Do you really engage when you're listening? It's an interesting question, isn't it? So to feel connected, you need to connect. And a good place to start is by really listening to others. So now we'll go into a meditation where we will focus on your listening and how well you listen and engage and communicate and connect, because all of those are connected together. So sit back comfortably or lay down, whatever you prefer. Just get comfortable where you are and close your eyes and take a big deep breath in and out. And another one in. Push your gut out. Really breath in and out. And one last breath. Well, not your last breath. No, you've got to keep breathing. But one last big focused breath. And breathe in and breathe out with a big sigh. Make a noise. Because when we make a noise, when we sigh out, it helps us relax. And now we're going to check in with our body. So really focus at your body and identify, where are you feeling a little bit stressed? Where might you be feeling tight? Is it in your head? Is it in the back of your head or your neck or your forehead? Do you have any tightness there in your jaw? And down into your neck. Check in with your shoulders. Wiggle them around a little bit. Are they feeling loose? Down your arms to your hands and your fingers. Are they clenched or are they relaxed? Give them a little wiggle and just relax them. Now back to your body, in your chest. Is there a tightness, or are you breathing in a very relaxed manner? Around your heart, into your gut, your abdomen, your lower back, all the way down our back. Do you have tightness or pain there? And so from our abdomen into our buttocks, because those two areas are ones where we store a lot of stress. Relax them and down through your legs into your thighs, your calves, your feet, and then down into the ground. And reach down into the ground and bring up the strength from the ground. And bring that up through your body. And now breathe in to any of those areas that we're feeling a bit tight or a little bit stressed. Breathe gently into them now and tell them that they can relax. They can let go of what's worrying them. Feel your body relax. Now we're going to open up just the top chakras. We're just going to focus on the heart, opening your heart chakra, because that is where you emotionally connect with other people. And then to our throat chakra, and that is where we speak our truth. So open that up so that you are speaking your truth today and in future. Then up to our third eye, and that's our intuition chakra. So that's where we get to see more than what is immediately visible. And that's how we use that to read other people, to intuit what they're meaning and so that we can understand them better. And up to our crown chakra. We're going to open our crown chakra, and today above our head is a beautiful blue light. It is so strong and bright and warm, and it's shining down from above us, from the source energy. It's shining down into our crown chakra, and this beautiful healing light is coursing its way all the way through our body. So down through our head and our neck, our shoulders, our arms, our chest, our back, our abdomen, our buttocks, our legs, our feet. And then it's grounding us in the earth. It's going all the way down into the earth and grounding us in that strength that we felt before, and bringing it all the way up through our body. It's flowing beautifully through our body. It's warm and it's healing, and it's this gorgeous blue light. And it's wrapping itself around our heart and then through our throat chakra for our truth, and into our third eye so that we can see what's really going on. And now with that blue light flowing all the way through us, I'm going to ask you a few questions. And I want you to take a moment to think about it and how it plays out in your life. So my first question is, how well do you listen? Going through those 10 techniques, which ones or which behavior of yours would you like to change so that you can be a better listener and connect more easily? What one of them pops out as being the most important one for you to address? Which one can you improve on? Which one do you think is the most important? And now think about your actions moving forward. If you were to write a plan, and your objective of your plan was to be a fantastic listener, what actions would you put on that plan of how to be a fantastic listener? What actions are the ones for you to adopt in your life? I'm going to leave you in silence for a minute or so to have a think about those actions. If you find your mind wandering, just thank your mind for those thoughts, and then look at them as if they are through a window and pull the blind down on that window and bring your mind back to your breath, in and out, and then back to the actions that you were coming up with. In what ways would you like to change the way you are and the way you listen to others when you communicate? And when you're done doing that, when your list is complete, store that in your memory, store it in your mind so that you can recall it later. And maybe after you've listened to this video, I would recommend you take out a piece of paper and a pen and you write down, you handwrite what those actions were that you came up with, so that you can put it somewhere on your mirror or somewhere where you keep seeing it to remind yourself that that's what you promised you would do for yourself and how you would improve your listening so that you can connect. And then bring yourself back into your body. Feel yourself sitting on the seat or laying on whatever you're laying on. Feel it supporting you. Maybe move your body around a little bit, just so that you can feel that you're back in it. Bring yourself back into the room that you're in and back to watching me in this video, or back to my voice. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to us. So thank you very much. Thank you for staying with me till the end. I hope you really enjoyed that and you enjoyed the meditation. I'd love to get your feedback, so please like the video if you liked it. Put a comment, give me some feedback. I'd love to hear from you. I'll happily answer your questions. And if you want to contact me, if you'd like some coaching or anything, then please do. The details are here. And yeah, so thank you. And I'll leave you with this thought. Listening is an art that requires attention over talent, spirit over ego, and others over self. So have a fabulous day, night, or whatever it is when you're listening. Don't forget to go and write down your actions and put them somewhere to keep reminding yourself about them. And yeah, thanks. Bye. I'm still here. Okay, sorry, button pressing things, you know how it is. So yeah, great. Bye, have fun and enjoy.